Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers with another first run review. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2. Let's have a look. The Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2 costs £210 or $250. It weighs 214 grams or 7.5 ounces for men in the size 8, and the drop is 1.5 millimeters. The Wave Rebellion Pro 2 is a race shoe that Mizuno says is designed for elite level runners aiming to get a sub 2.5 hour marathon time. Like the Wave Rebellion Pro, it features one of the most noticeable shapes to be found in super shoes, with the bulk of the midsole foam positioned in the centre of the shoe. That midsole is dual layered, with the lower layer being the more responsive Mizuno ENERZY LITE, and the upper the softer, bouncy Mizuno ENERZY LITE Plus, of which there has been more added than in the previous version. Other updates include a redesigned carbon fibre wave plate to improve speed, a slightly wider base to increase stability, and the shoe gets rid of the cut-out midsole section seen in the original. The upper has also been modified to make it slightly roomier, and there's an impressive layer of G3 outsole rubber for grip and durability. So the fit for me in the Wave Rebellion Pro 2, I'm a size 8 in the UK, this is a size 8. It is a narrow shoe. It's noticeably narrow when you're wearing it, not as narrow as the original. It's got a slightly bit more space in it. I was fine with it on that first run. I didn't have any issues, but what I would say is that there wasn't a lot of space in the forefoot for me, a bit above my toes, although there was quite a bit of space around the side of the foot, and that's more than it was in the original one. So what I would say is that if you are concerned about that space in the forefoot, you'd probably want to go half a size up in this shoe. I felt fine in it, but I know that a lot of people went up half a size in the original one as well, just because of that narrowness. But I would stick to my size in this shoe, but probably should go up half a size if you're concerned. The other thing I'd say as well is it has quite a slippy heel. It's quite hard to really lock down these shoes and get a really tight lockdown fit. I'm fine with them now. I've managed to do it, and they feel absolutely fine. But it did take me a while to get it into position and get the laces into to a point where I did feel like it was really secure. So take that in consideration as well. It's a bit tricky to get a lockdown fit in these shoes. So I was a bit late to the party with the original Wave Rebellion Pro. I actually picked these up in the sports shoe sale at Christmas for £100, and when I read about the shoes and sort of images of them, I thought it was a little bit of a novelty. It was obviously a way to get a lot more foam in without increasing the stack height of the heel section of the shoe. So I was a bit concerned it was a little bit of a gimmick, but I absolutely have loved using this shoe. I've used it for a couple of 5k races. I've used it for track sessions, I've used it for interval sessions, and I absolutely love it. It just feels so quick and fun and enjoyable to run in. For my style of running as well, I'm a midfoot striker, and these shoes I think are predominantly designed for heel strikers and midfoot strikers to really tip you onto that forefoot with this really pronounced rocker design. It really does sort of move you over, and it just feels really nice and fast and comfortable for that. The Wave Rebellion Pro 2, it does have a little bit more of this Mizuno ENERZY LITE Plus midsole in the top section of the midsole. So it's a dual layer. The top section is this softer foam, and there's a slightly harder foam at the bottom section of the midsole. And that has made the ride noticeably different. It's a lot softer. And when I took it out for that run, this midsection of the shoe, it's like a trampoline. I land directly on the highest part, the tallest part of this midsole, and you really do notice it. It's just like you're bouncing on a trampoline as you're running. So the run that I did was over at Brighton Velodrome, which is essentially a 650 metre concrete track. It's got a bit of a camber on it, so it's not perfectly designed for track running. And I did 10 minutes at half marathon pace, 2 times 6 minutes at 10k pace, and then 3 times 4 minutes at 5k pace. So it's quite a tough session, and I was going all out on it. And what I really noticed about this shoe is that when I was doing running down to the track in it, I could really notice this midsole section. At easy pace, which is about 5 minute kilometers for me, it just bounces you up and down. It feels so nice. Feels very weird, but feels very nice. But it doesn't really, it's not conducive to running efficiently at easy pace. It doesn't really help you in any way. It sort of bounces you up and down, but didn't feel it was like tipping me forwards when I was running. When I picked up the pace in this shoe on the velodrome, it really comes into its own. It really rolls you forward and just tips you off and feels just so efficient. It's not necessarily bouncy. It's just really rolling and fluid to run in. It's a really, really fun shoe to run in, actually. I really enjoyed that running it. One thing about this shoe is that technically it has a 1.5mm drop, but that's because it's measured from the back of the shoe to the front of the shoe, and obviously there isn't hardly any back of the shoe, so the bulk of the midsole foam is in the middle. It doesn't feel like a low drop shoe. It feels like a shoe that's got a much higher drop, which is tipping you forward as you're running. So yeah, it's a funny shoe to explain and a funny shoe to test out, but it is an incredibly fun shoe, and there aren't many super shoes out there that I've tried that feel like this, if any. Nothing that has that sort of trampoline-y feel in the midsole, because obviously most shoes don't have all the foam in the midsole, so it's an experience that I haven't really noticed before, apart from in the original Rebellion Pro. But this is a bit softer and a bit bouncier, and the midsole section is a lot more noticeable than in the Rebellion Pro. So I much preferred running in the new one than the old one, just because of that extra softness and that extra bounce. But it is a very, very enjoyable shoe to run in. Very strange shoe to run in. One thing I would say as well is there is quite a narrow section on this shoe. So the heel and the midsection of the shoe is quite narrow, which does make the shoe quite unstable. In the original Rebellion Pro, it has a cutout section here, which and this is it's a really narrow shoe, the original one, and you can really notice it. So I would never use either of these shoes if I was on something other than completely flat ground where I could see what I was doing, because they are quite unstable shoes, and that's not just because of the thinness of the midsole. It's also because of that rocker design. So essentially you're in quite a precarious position when you're running, unless you're running straight forward on flat ground. So they are a bit of a risky shoe. So if you have concerns about stability, maybe you want to get a carbon plate shoe and you've never tried one before, I wouldn't go for these, because they're a little bit of an acquired taste, and they're definitely not an entry-level carbon plate shoe because of that stability element, and also because they just don't ride like you'd expect. They're not a very natural ride. I wouldn't say they're aggressive, but they definitely put your foot in a position that isn't natural. So just be aware of that. The outsole of the Wave Rebellion Pro 2 is fantastic. Really, really good. It is grips on the ground really, really well. The track I was running on was really wet. No problems on that at all, and it was absolutely great. Much like the Wave Rebellion Pro. So all in all, that first run, very, very enjoyable. Really looking forward to doing more runs in this, and I'd really like to do a longer distance race in this shoe, maybe 10k and then maybe half marathon. But I have a feeling that for half marathon distance, it may just be a little too unnatural to be comfortable over the course of the full 21 kilometers. So my initial verdict in the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2. I think it's a really, really fun shoe. It's unlike anything apart from the Rebellion Pro that I've tested before. It's an interesting shoe. I think it may be a little bit of a niche shoe. I think some people aren't going to get on with the feel of the shoe, and I think that comes down to how you run. So Nick will be testing the shoe out for the full review with me. He's a heel striker. I'm a mid-foot striker, so I hit the shoe exactly in the middle of where this highest point is. Nick is a heel striker, and he really likes the previous version as well. So be interesting to see how he finds this. But I think there's definitely a type of runner that this would suit. The Mizuno talk about this shoe being designed for sub 2.5 hour marathon runs. So pros and elites running really fast. I run a sub 3 marathon, so I'm a long way off being a 2.5 hour marathon runner, but I love this shoe. I think it might be that for me it's probably more applicable to shorter distances, because it's probably a little bit too unnatural for me to do a half marathon or a full marathon in. But for those short distances that I tested out on that run, and all the ones that I've done in the original Rebellion Pro, it's absolutely great, and it just feels very fast and enjoyable, and just moves you into a position that really just feels like you're flowing. In that run, I could pick up the pace nicely, I could maintain my pace nicely, and the shoes felt absolutely great. I definitely think the addition of the new extra midsole foam, this lighter Mizuno ENERZY LITE Plus midsole foam, is an upgrade on the original, and it just feels a little bit better for me. So overall, really successful first run. I'm really looking forward to trying this shoe out a bit more, just because it is so much fun. Okay, that's from me on this first run review of the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell, and if you're going to Catch and Blow, you can find a link to our podcast, which comes out at the end of each month. We've also got our new podcast series, which is called Points of Shoe, where you can ask us questions if you send us an email, and we will possibly answer them on a podcast coming up. So if you go to Catch and Blow and click on the latest podcast, you can hear that and find out how to get your questions submitted. Right, thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.